This time I have a Marantz model 1120 integrated stereo amplifier, and the complaint on this is it produces a loud, high-pitched squeal when turned on from all sources, and the owner thought he was going to blow his speakers. Let's check it out. This is a Marantz model 1120 stereo amplifier, and this one here, apparently, according to the owner of it, it's squealing, is what he says, even when the volume is turned all the way down. So let's power it up and turn on the speakers and see what it's doing. Yeah, it's making a noise. Good way to blow the tweeters. Okay, no input on this thing. It's got feedback somehow, or squealing, oscillation. Let's see if we can figure out what's causing the problem on this one. First things first, remove the top cover. Got one Torx. And the reason it has a security Torx is I put it there because I worked on this unit a couple of years ago. It was missing a screw. I put one in. At least I know that no one else is getting into it because that's a security bit. And this one's a nice big empty box. First things first, let's just see if this is coming from the preamp or the power amp. We'll remove the preamp to power amp connectors and see if we still get the squeal. Ah, we don't. Aha! So, that's telling me it's a preamp problem. I reconnect them. Are we going to get the squeal again or not? Okay, what the heck? It's gone away. Well, isn't that bizarre? It squealed when it had the top cover on it, but it doesn't squeal now. Now this amplifier has a story behind it. I worked on this a couple of years ago. The guy that brought it to me, it was given to him, and we checked it over. We were going to do a recap on this unit. I even put an LED in here for the light because the bulb was burnt out. And then the owner of it decided they wanted it back, so they contacted the guy they gave it to and wanted the amplifier back, so we didn't do any work on it. We didn't change out any of the caps, didn't do a recap on it, didn't change the electrolytics, in other words. And they took it back. That was a couple of years ago, and then they gave it back to him. He hooked it up and it started squealing, so back here it comes. And of course, you guys just heard it. It was squealing, but now it's not. Be nice to know what was causing that horrible squealing sound. Was it something from the preamp, or was it something in the power amp? Didn't matter what level the volume was, but that still could be the preamp because there's no volume. Like the main out will be controlled. Like if I plug in, for example, oh, you know what? I bet it's right here. You know what? I just think I found the problem. The problem is right here. There's the problem right there. It's the dummy jacks. That's one of the problems. There is another. It's these dummy jacks. They're not making a good ground connection. Interesting. What it's going to be is it's going to be oxidation on the plugs. That's going to be the fault. Talk about a simple fix. Scared the hell out of the guy that owned it, though. He thought his speakers were going to blow. But here's our fault. And that's why when I unplug these, see, not making a connection. This one here. It's the connection on the ground here between one side and the other. This one's not connecting at all. Right, that one's not connecting at all. It's this. So let's clean these up. But it's these shorting plugs are not making a good connection. We'll sand these down to shine them up, get some deoxide on there. But there's where the fault is on this. Who would have thunk? But there you can see, if you look on here, you can see the oxidation. See all the oxidation around here. That's what's causing the problem. So these will be relatively easy to shine up. We'll just take some aluminum oxide paper. We'll just buff these up a bit, and then we'll use some cleaner to clean them. Get all the oxidation off. We'll put some deoxide on these. I'm going to wipe it in here in a minute and clean this off, and we'll clean off all the outside, and they'll also do the inside to the pins as well on the inside. Yeah, a little bit of dirt. A little bit of dirt on those. Going to tighten up the contacts here a bit. We're going to just squeeze these in with a pair of pliers just to give a bit better grip for the pre-out and main inputs. Oops, don't want to do them too much or they won't plug in at all. But these, you do want to have a fairly tight fit on them. These are not normally plugs that are going to get unplugged unless you're plugging in an equalizer. You want these to be a good solid connection. Fire in the hole. Oh, it might help if I plug my source back in, right? I still have a grounding problem. Seems like one of the grounds isn't going through, so let's just measure the grounds from the pre-outs from the board up front here. It seems like both channels are being grounded through one side. So we get the ground here. Okay, brown is ground and purple is ground. Okay, so our grounds are good. Our hot is that one, and this other one is that one. But our ground going to the power amp, I think one side is not grounded. It should be the, which one are we here? I'm on purple, so it should be the brown wire. The brown wire over here on the power amp does not appear to be grounding. Looks like the blue wire. Red is hot and the blue is ground. So let me just check the blue where it goes in over here on the power amp. If we look down here, it looks like the blue wire is not even plugged in. Can you guys see it on camera? It's right down in there. Yeah, look at this blue wire. I don't know if I get a better shot of it. I'll move the camera over a bit. But I think this blue wire is not plugged in. Can I get you guys a better shot? Okay, see the blue wire? See it down here? It looks like it's not even plugged in. Let me just reach down there with my screwdriver and touch it. Look, it's not plugged in. Well, that would explain why we've got all that noise. One side's not even grounded. I think the board lifts out if I take out these 4 screws. The heatsink should lift out with the amplifier board. Does it lift out or not on this thing? Or do I have to take the whole back off? Oh, this is an ugly design. This is a really ugly design. Now I know why when I worked in the business, my audio guy, he used to cringe whenever he saw one of these things came in. The number of these units that we condemned over the years was just incredible. Someone would walk in with one of these and they'd walk out with a new Technics or a Sony, because the guy that I worked with did not like working on them, and he would condemn every single one that he could. And I'm starting to understand why, because of the way these things are constructed. Nothing is easy to work on. If you want to work on the jack panel, it looks like it comes out with 4 screws, right? No, it doesn't, because it's soldered to this board, and this board is screwed down to a switch assembly which is mounted to the bottom panel. So you got to pull the front board, I have to pull the front off, got to pull the front board off, disconnect everything so that you can lift the back board off and unscrew this. But even at that, you got to pull the whole board out to work on it. It's they're not easy to work on. Maybe in luck though, I may be able to reach down here with a pair of needle nose and carefully try and put that clip back on. I can see where it goes, so I wonder if I can get that ground back in where it belongs. It's gonna be hard for you guys to see with my head in the way, I know, but that's the way it's gonna have to be. Almost got it, but again, very limited space. There, I got it right down there. You can see I got it on there. That was tough to reach in there. Well, not a lot of room. Not a user or not a service friendly amplifier, that's for sure. Same as changing all these caps, right? Okay, seems like, okay, this will be easy unit to change the caps on, right? Well, you can get at this one, getting at the ones below it. Yeah, you can get at this side of the board. I mean, I think if I were to change caps on those, I would be, I'd be tacking them on the bottom side of the board. I'd be clipping them out, and I'd be tacking them on this side where there's room, because there's not a heck of a lot of room. There's only 4. There's 5. I said there's 4 in each row, so there's 8. There's only 8 to change. It'd be relatively easy to get to this side of the board and tack them down over here, but getting down in there is tough. And to pull this board, I don't know if this board's going to come out without, I guess it might come out. This board might come out easier. It's held in place by a screw on the bottom and it unplugs from here. So this board might come out. This one here, not so easy. The other one on the other side, not so easy to get at. Anyway, let's try the amp now. Okay, we'll power it up. Okay, let me just plug these in. I might hear, oh, I don't have my source plugged in. Help if I plug in my source. And I'll plug the plugs in and see. We'll hear probably a little squeak when I first plug them in. Maybe not. Hey, now the right channel's working. Bad contacts on the jumpers, but whatever reason that plug had worked its way loose. The blue one had fallen out for the ground for one channel, so one channel was not being grounded at all. One of the amps was floating free. I should bring my little piece of crap Polk speakers down here. Like I was telling you guys, I pulled the Polks out of my little system in my bedroom and I replaced it with my little Paradigm, the small ones, the Atoms I think they were. I replaced the Polk with the Paradigms, and the Paradigms blew the Polks away. I should bring the Polks down here. We'll hook them up to this thing and see how they compare to these JVC speakers that I'm using. These are just speakers from like a mini system, so they're not a high-end speaker by any stretch of imagination. But these little Polks I've got, they were actually quite expensive, and I bought them new a few years back, and well, I'll bring them down. You guys can take a listen to them. Okay, I've got the little Polks connected now. These are the old JVCs, the ones I've been using all along. And I'll switch over to these other ones. Now everything's set to flat. We'll turn the loudness off. I'll switch back. I think the plastic JVC speakers have more bass. These are little Polk two-ways. What I should do is I should hook up the Paradigms to this amp. Maybe we'll do that. We'll hook up the Paradigms and the Polks, and we can do a comparison between the Paradigms I fixed, not the ones that are the same size as this, though I'll use because they're in the house. I've still got the Titan monitors, the white ones out here. I'll hook up the Paradigm Titan monitors. We'll compare them to these. But I tell you, the Paradigm, the little ones, the Atoms that I fixed up, blow these things away. That's why I took these out of service. I've been using these for several years. I hooked up the little Atoms beside them and listened to it, and it's like, yeah, I'm putting the Atoms in. It's like the PSP speakers I've got in the shop here. The PSP speakers sound better than these. That's why the PSPs are in the shop. And these Chinese ones were in the bedroom, and now they're surplus. Let me hook up the Paradigms. We'll listen to them both on the same amp, see how they sound. Okay, I got a track queued up here. We'll play the Paradigm and we'll switch to the Polk and hear the difference, because it is amazing, the difference. The little Paradigm sound almost as good as these big ones. They are very, very close, and that's why they ended up in the house and these ones ended up becoming a surplus set of speakers that will probably just be used out in the workshop here for testing stuff. But here, listen to this. Yeah, we can figure this thing out. Let's try this track here. Here we go. So these are the paradigm that we're listening to now. We'll listen to the opening here, and then I'll switch over. I don't know how the deep basses are going to come across on camera, but they're very, very good. Play the same opening with the other speakers, so we'll go and do this again here, and we'll do it with these ones this time. So these are these Polk now. Back to the paradigm. So this is the Polks. Now the paradigm. Back to the Polk. Try and lower the camera down and try to make it at an equal distance now, because it's closer to these speakers a little bit. But let me lower the camera down. We'll continue this. Leafing up low volumes. These ones sound a little louder, but it's more in the mid-range. These have a lot more mid-range. but don't have the deep bass, whereas the Paradigms do. Now I say I'm not adding any coloring to this. I've got the tone controls set to flat. I even have the loudness control off. Let's turn the loudness on. So that's the Polk. Now we're back on the Paradigm. Now, bear in mind, both of these speakers were in the same price point, right? These Polks, $250 a pair. These Paradigms would have also been about $250 a pair. So we're not talking a speaker that's twice as expensive as another. We're talking two speakers that were in the same price point. The Polk, so these ones designed in USA, made in China, Chinese drivers, and these ones are made in Canada. Everything's made in Canada. The drivers, the crossover, the particle board boxes. I think if it comes across on camera as well as I can hear it here in the shop, I think you agree that these Paradigm blow these away. The smaller Paradigms that I also refoamed sound better than these, and that's why these drivers, I took them out of service. I had these, I've been using these for a couple years, and I put the other ones back in service because they have much better sound. Anyway, I'm going to leave this hooked up for the guy to come and get this, and I'll let him hear the difference in the speakers too, so he can hear how these little Paradigms sound. I do have a big pair of speakers I'll be working on soon as well. But anyway, thanks for watching. If you have one of these Marantz that's making a high-pitched squealing, check the grounds, check those pass-through connectors, the jumpers for the pre-out and main in. And unlike some Japanese amplifiers, which just have the U-shaped bars, right? The metal, the U-shaped bar that went between, the one I'm talking about, the metal pin that went between. You can't do that on this. That will not work on this amplifier. In fact, you'll end up with all kinds of noise and squeaks, just like we had, because on most Japanese amplifiers, the grounds are common throughout the entire unit. The amplifier is grounded to the chassis, which is grounded to the preamp outputs. So the main and the preamp are grounded at all times. So those jumper connections only connect the audio from the pre-out to the main in because the ground is internal. On this one, the ground is separate, and if you don't have one that has the ground separate, it's not going to work. Oh, you gotta be f***ing me.
Has been pre-selected to receive a complimentary stay.
Can I tell that to F off? Here.
For further details,
Let's
press
just
0 now.
Yeah, piss off.
You don't wish to.
I'm gonna give these guys shit.
You are currently caller number 10, waiting to speak with a representative. Thank you for your patience.
Here we go.
Good afternoon. My name is Leo.
Hey, can I ask you something? Can I ask you something? Hello? Hey, listen, I keep telling you assholes to take me off your call list, and you keep f***ing calling me. Stop f***ing calling me, you piece of shit. Stop calling me, you piece of shit. F*** you. F*** you. Stop calling my f***ing number. There. I get pissed off with these guys because that's a fake number, right? I must get 10 calls a day from Marriott Hotel, Best Western, WestJet. I've never done business with any of those companies, yet I get calls every day, and usually it says, press 2 to be removed from our call list. And you press 2 to be removed from the call list, and you get even more calls, because when you do that, it adds you to the call list. So I thoroughly enjoy wasting these idiots' times, get them on the phone and yell at them, and then hang up. All scammers, all scammers. Anyway, now if you think I'm mad, see, I got you guys thinking. He's lost his temper. Anyway, that's it for this one. Let's just say this nice little amplifier. One of these will certainly be welcomed into my system, that's for sure, because I think these old Marantz, American-made Marantz amps were a good amplifier. They are not the easiest to work on because of the way they're laid out. Just to do anything, you got to disassemble quite a bit. I know the guys that I worked with at the time used to absolutely despise working on these. Most common fault on these units is the switches, which I think we did that last time when this was in, like a couple years ago. We cleaned the switches and replaced the light. Switches, controls, most common fault on these. The other common fault is the connectors, the multi-connects that connect the boards to the front control board and so forth. Those pins on the multi-connects can go bad and cause intermittent problems. That was the biggest problem with these units, was intermittent connections. As far as the amplifier section goes, I don't think I've ever seen one blown up where we've actually had to do any changing of the outputs or anything on them. Very well built, overrated. The transistors are rated at more power than the power supply can output, so that generally means you're not going to blow the outputs on it. I know these amplifiers are quite sought after. I say they're kind of a pain in the ass to work on just because of the layout on them, but they are a nice amplifier. This one's in fine shape. The guy that owns this, he got it for free, so I kind of envy him. But I wish people would give me nice equipment like this for free. I occasionally get something, but it seems like everybody else gets all the real nice gear given to them. Anyway, thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.